are watching ESPN's Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's. Tonight, it's a Mac Friday from the Ocean First Bank Center in West Long Branch, where Monmouth and Canisius hoping to dress up as a regular season champion. Matt Martucci, the Mac Hall of Famer, Julianne Vianney. It's 8 different teams separated by all of 2 games atop the Mac. Tonight, it's the top 2 with Canisius a half-game lead. The Golden Griffs, 2 weeks ago, we saw them as one of the top teams in the conference on the road. They're trying to do it again tonight, Julianne.
They've been incredible, and they've won 7 of their last 10 games, and to do it on the road is not an easy thing, so they're peaking at just the right time. We're entering March Madness, so this is the time to do it.
And peaking's a good word, because that's exactly what describes King Rice and the Monmouth Hawks. You look at the way their season started and what they've done since.
Well, 0-12 to start the season is unbelievable. The fact that they've been able to turn it around says so much about him as a coach, Matt, and his players and their character to not hang their heads and to be able to come back and win ball games. They are in the running to win the MAC at this point after that kind of start. So that also shows the kind of parity in this league.
Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by I Love New York. Diago, Quinn, one of the top bigs in this league, highlighting Monmouth. And Traor with the bank open.
That's a good start. A good pun on words there, Matt, with the bank open in the First Bank Arena here. I don't think you even meant to do it.
No, not at all. It just came organically.
Yeah, you know.
Scotty Hitchin, the one to watch in the Canisius starting lineup. Sophomore playing some really good basketball. Hitchin with the long miss. And just getting ourselves settled in for what's the second meeting between these two this year. A blowout second half the first time around for the Golden Griffins after being tied at the end of one half.
And one thing to really look at too today is that Monmouth has to be able to defend the 3, the perimeter game better than they did the first time around, because Canisius is a very guard-oriented team, and they can beat a lot of these players off the bounce. Monmouth, though, is bigger. Can they utilize their height inside?
Sanks got himself caught up in the air. And a turnover for the Canisius Golden Griffins, who are led by Reggie Witherspoon. Was in the MAC tournament title game a couple times in the other MAC, the Mid-American. So has been close in terms of getting to an NCAA tournament.
Can't say enough about him, too, Matt. I mean,
no, one of the most respected coaches in this league.
3rd year, and he's got these guys playing tremendous the last 2 years.
McClary got too far under the glass. Open look from Molson, and cashes in.
That's what Molson does, and this is what Canisius can do. They can kill you with spreading the floor out. Monmouth has to be ready on the closeouts.
Came in as the MAC's 4th leading scorer to call Molson. Took him a while to get going a couple weeks ago when we saw them at Ryder, but once he did in the second half, was able to bring the Griffs back. Nice position for Quinn, but too many steps. And Monmouth has turned it over. 8th season for King Rice, the former North Carolina point guard who played under the legendary Dean Smith. A couple of MAC regular season titles a couple years back. And hoping that his team could be the one to garner that #1 overall seed.
And a good thing to mention is he did schedule difficult in the non-conference play. And a lot of those games, of course, to start the season, maybe have helped them in terms of now and in conference play.
Sometimes shooting the basketball early on for the Griffs. And Hammond taking advantage. So Deion Hammond, the sophomore from Mitchellville, Maryland, becomes the 2nd Hawk to score tonight.
He's coming off a couple of big games he's had this season. 27 at Quinnipiac.
Contact on the baseline.
But if Monmouth can get out and run the basketball, I mean, that's a real key. You can get some easy buckets in the lane, and Hammond, one of the better scorers in the league, is 8th or so in the league in scoring in MAC games. So he's been averaging 15 a game in league play. That's where he's picked it up.
Salnave on the home run ball. And the alpha of the Hawks with his first 2 of the night.
A slow start here from Canisius. I think Monmouth catching them sleeping, although that's something we've seen from Canisius before. They know how to punch back.
Hitchin, catch and shoot, count it, plus the foul. And we talked about Scott Hitchin as the one to watch in this starting lineup for Canisius tonight. This is why.
And he's come on hot as of lately. I mean, he plays with so much passion and fire. He's got a little edge to his game. Can shoot it from three if you leave him open. He's going to spread the floor. And what I think about him that's happened over the course of the season, now he's a sophomore, the game's slowing down for him. When he first started out, the season even, it was moving too fast. So you could tell that everything is kind of starting to click for him.
And we talked today, and I said, what's the biggest difference
Yeah,
in
you liked it. You had a good conversation with it.
Yeah, and he said confidence. That's it. Just playing with a lot more.
And that comes with time.
McClary through the lane. Somebody who's trying to fine-tune his offensive game.
Now they could use that. I mean, he's only had a double-figure game against St. Peter's. But that was a big one for him.
And that's how Monmouth likes to get their baskets, trying to get into the lane, not a real perimeter-oriented team. Contact on the baseline, Sanks able to draw it. Hammond hit with what's already the third Monmouth team foul. Dion Hammond and the Hawks off of what was a loss to Marist, where they got down big, couldn't get themselves back. Canisius trying to bounce back off of a loss of its own.
So much,
Manhattan.
right, and that's the thing about this league, is just so much parity. It's unbelievable to watch. We were speaking to King Rice about that before the game, and he was just saying, you know, it's hard to separate this season. You can't really separate. I mean, yeah, they've got the first couple of teams that are maintaining the top position. These two teams, actually. But everybody beating up on each other. The MAC tournament in Albany just around the corner. That is going to be exciting, Matt.
9 days left in the regular season, 4 regular season games. And we talked about it, 8 different teams that are separated by 2 games. Is it March? It feels like it.
It's almost there. Can you believe it? Just a couple weeks.
Shot clock cut in half for the Hawks. This is where Quinn likes to operate, just too easy from the block.
And that's where they need to get him the basketball. He has such a size advantage on the block, and their bigs have gotten better. Very good coaching in terms of the big men.
Tried to force feed the post, turnover for the Golden Griffins. And balanced scoring early on for the Monmouth Hawks. 5 different players have found the board. 1-point game.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's new Made to Crave menu, available at participating restaurants now. And Dove Men Plus Care. Care makes a man stronger.
Rivalry week presented by Wendy's as we come back at the Ocean First Bank Center. 1-point lead for the host Monmouth Hawks. In balance early on, Julianne Vianney, something that we spoke to King Rice about, said that in order to beat this Canisius team that's so good on the road, you almost have to out-team the Golden Griffins.
And you know what? That's because Canisius is so team-oriented themselves. I mean, this is a team that's very fundamentally sound. They've played very well together, and that's with one of their best players being suspended. No Isaiah Reese. We've talked about it in previous broadcasts. They have not had him, which has caused them to play collectively well. But Monmouth has also been playing collectively well. They had a thing in their minds just switch over once they got their first win after 12 losses to start the season. So a lot of credit to King Rice. It's going to take that team effort.
Yeah, that team effort, something that's extended to our officiating crew. Sean Campbell coming over, one of the umpires, and telling us it ended up being a flagrant one on the big man, Diago Quinn.
Clearly, I missed that completely, but getting physical early.
Hitchin will head to the line after Quinn apparently extended the arm.
And this is what the call was, and you see this was the flagrant one. Although, and I understand that, but Quinn was also, they were both kind of going back and forth there. I don't know that I would have called that.
Substitutions for Monmouth, number 44,
It almost looks like Hitchin
initiated that. That makes no sense to me. I don't like that call at all, especially as we're able to look back at it. To me, that was the opposite. Unless I'm going crazy, Matt. That's what I saw.
You know, though, Julianne, as well as I do, it's always the second one they catch, right?
You're right.
So Quinn going to cool off a little bit. And already now hit with what's 2 personal fouls. You talked about size. That's a big issue.
It is going to take being physical somewhat.
Molson, speaking of physicality, the bucket and the foul.
Gosh, he is such a good player, and we've talked about it before, but he's someone who works his absolute butt off at getting better. He watches his own film. He's always working on how he can get better. And you just see him doing the little things. He minds his own business. He's got that confidence. They need him down the stretch here as they figure out or finish out February to continue putting these numbers on.
And began the month of February without their second leading scorer, Isaiah Reese, suspended indefinitely shortly before that Rider game. Molson can't complete the three-point play.
And both of them declared for the NBA draft last spring. Reese did get a couple of workouts. Molson did not. That's what caused Molson to come back to the drawing board, get better at his game, and he has done that.
Yeah, Reese ended up with 3 workouts. Molson, unfortunately, didn't have any, but that pushes you a little bit.
It does. They come back, finish school. You're only a sophomore.
And speaking of finishing, Hammond, already a couple of buckets, leading Monmouth with 4 early on.
You see they moved the, now he can be 18 again, go back to go into the league. The NBA announced. Back to the way it used to be.
Molson not bashful and out of bounds.
Well, we saw them against Rider just a couple weeks ago, Matt, and boy, did Canisius come out guns a-blazing. They shot the lights out from 3, especially in that first half. The second half was all Rider, but boy, was that a shooting night for them to start.
Hammond off the rotation, and 5 straight for him.
How about that for a quick release?
One of their best 3-point shooters, 35% on the year. 62nd 3 of the season for Dion Hammond.
And Coach Rice told us we want to try to get him cleaner looks. When he gets a clean look, he almost always knocks it down. That was a clean look.
And a good sign for a team that doesn't operate a whole lot from the perimeter. Hitchin maybe forced that a little bit. And contact and a blocking foul coming on 6.
personal foul, first team foul.
Jordan Henderson, the freshman from Cincinnati.
Golden Griffins, number
One of the first Golden Griffins up off the bench. Like Henderson, plays with a kind of a quiet confidence about him.
That's always the ones you got to watch out for, Matt. You don't have to be loud about it. You let your game speak, right?
That's how you were, right, Vianney?
Yeah, I know. I mean, just let your game speak.
Abizabe. They got it sent back by Hitchin. I can't picture you talking trash. You're too nice.
I was evil on the court. You gotta have a little bit of both. A little bit of swag and edge. My opponents didn't think I was nice.
I like that.
Gotta be able to turn it on and off, right? Oh, this is a real good hustle, and Hitchin has been just tremendous on all fronts, offensively and defensively. There's a size disadvantage for him in there, yet he plays with edge.
Hey, you saw the stare down there.
He's tough, and I like that.
Hammond, this time opposite wing.
He's been tremendous.
What a start for him. 10 points in the first 6.5 minutes for Dion Hammond, 8-0 Hawk run.
You got to give King Rice credit too, because he said, I'm going to get the ball in his hands whenever possible. And that, for a player like him, he's got to get those kind of quick hitters.
Johnson trying to match. One and done for the Griffs. And the fine, Martin, rim running. And a timeout for the Golden Griffins. The last 10 points by way of the host Hawks.
30-second timeout.
Talk about playing team ball. Out teaming, as you mentioned, Matt, earlier. That's the way to do it. Terrific defense that leads to some offense on the other end, and you've got players running the floor. Monmouth just looks more energetic.
Rivalry week rolls on tomorrow with what's a great matchup, 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. R.J. Barrett, #1 Duke, trying to bounce back after a loss Wednesday to Carolina when they travel to the Carrier Dome to face Syracuse. You can also see this Sonic Blockbuster live on the ESPN app. You can watch anywhere.
Syracuse, Saturday at
Actually
6
up at the Carrier Dome the other night.
You got stuck there, Matt. Tell me what happened.
I'd rather not.
All right, it was probably a nightmare story.
But
It's a place to go visit, that's for sure. Cool place to call a game.
our best to Orange head coach
Yeah.
Jim Boeheim and his family, and the family of the man who passed in the unfortunate accident this week. Such a tough turn of events.
Totally, and the fact that he did announce today he's going to coach tomorrow in their game against Duke.